Oh, so I can even have the class.
Yes. So this is my friend Victor. Victor was born in the former Soviet Union, came over to the US for high school.
Yes.
And we studied together at MIT. Is visiting Cambridge, Massachusetts, because his daughter is going to be a freshman at MIT. Victor, thank you for joining us.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Since you graduated, what have you been up to?
After MIT, I went to graduate school. I had a pretty long career in finance. I worked for investment banks in New York, hedge fund in Chicago, and then for the last 14 years or so, I have been working for myself, basically, at a small company that I'm a partner in California, which also does finance.
You emigrated from Russia. You did your middle school education in Russia.
It was just a regular Moscow public school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you moved to the United States, where did you end up moving to the U.S.?
So my family moved to Massachusetts, to Boston, and I went to a high school in Newton, Massachusetts.
And when you were growing up, did you enjoy reading?
Yes, I very much enjoyed reading 5 hours every day,
Wow.
or 6 hours every day. That changed quite a lot after I moved to the United States.
But was that precipitated by like language, or was that because of other things that you were doing?
Language was a major part of that, and also my life changed quite a bit after we moved.
What were the sorts of things that you enjoyed reading?
I read, so Russian literature tradition is famous authors, and the Soviet Union was a place where writers were tremendously respected. There was this veneration of writers and poets. It was so reading Russian writers, knowing their books, being able to talk about their books was something that was considered a very worthwhile thing to do. And so I basically read the typical canon of Russian literature.
Did you find yourself sharing or discussing the knowledge of some of these novels with your peers outside of an academic setting?
I was in middle school. Some friends of mine who were reading the same books, and yes, when we did discuss those, it was also considered kind of cool to be able to relate the kind of things that you were doing as a kid to the books, to the classics, to the literature classics.
So what were some things you were doing as a kid that would relate?
Well, so just like quoting a famous movie.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had that kind of depth in reading, especially about culture. I spent a lot more time reading like nonfiction. But
a lot of that was ironic as well, where you could, for kids, obviously, it's kind of interesting and funny that you would display your knowledge of classics by bringing it up in circumstances that were very different from the classical setting, but it kind of, I guess, would show that you know the literature.
Yeah,
I don't think it is like that anymore, by the way. But when I was growing up, it kind of was.
You mentioned that maybe you didn't have as much time as you would have spent on reading as you did before.
Right.
But did you engage in any other academic enrichment? Like, in other words, things that you did beyond the scope of your school curriculum or something like that, even if it was in relation to
Sure.
enhancing your English or other things?
In my junior year in high school, there were two teachers. One was the English teacher and the other one was a math teacher, who I could see that they really thought that I had a lot of potential. And they convinced me to participate in extracurricular activities. This is something that my English teacher convinced me to do, called academic decathlon.
Okay.
And the teacher was very serious about this and spent many hours a week training the academic decathlon team.
How many students in the school participated in that?
I think it was
team?
I think it was about a dozen students.
Okay.
I didn't understand why it was important to do that, because I really did not understand at all how the things that you do in school translate to where you go to college.
Did your English teacher use that as a context, or
She
did your
did.
English teacher just encourage you for the intellectual challenge?
She did not. She did not try to sell it to me. Initially, I remember I said, I don't really have the time or the inclination to do this. And she said, that's fine, you don't have to come to the practices. Just do it on your own, whatever you want to do. And I think it will be a good thing for you. That was a very big benefit for my applying to college, completely unexpectedly. I won the gold medal in English in my senior year. in that competition. I got the bronze medal in math, but the gold medal in English.
Is this a state competition?
It's a state competition.
That's brilliant.
And I still have those medals in my house. I still have those medals. And everyone expected that I would do really well in math, and I did get the bronze medal, and out of nowhere. And again, I think this goes to show how important. So to me personally, if you have a teacher who says, I think I see something in you that I don't see in other kids, that type of encouragement is more important than any type of selling job that they can create for you.
What was the raw material that she saw from you? Like, probably since she was your English teacher, she had seen your essays, or she had seen maybe other writing exercises, or maybe a presentation. What do you think she's observed in you?
Starting my third year, so my English was absolutely not up to any advanced standard. But I think she appreciated the logical quality of my writing, where it wasn't even the content, and it wasn't he knew more English, then this could potentially be pretty good.
It's interesting. Quite a testament to her to be able to see past some of the noise to see something more interesting. What about your parents or your brothers? Like, did they factor in any of the either motivation for studying or modeling, or what's their role in addition to your teachers that gave you that kind of spark?
My parents, they never said anything. They never said to me, you should work harder.
But then there's some behavior they modeled which gave you that understanding.
But it was very clear that they, that implicitly they were expecting that type of behavior.
Okay.
Yeah.